Hi, it's Bill here on My Novel Experience. Today I just want to talk a little bit about the Vicomte Trilogy. So the concept for the novels or the trilogy actually came from a short story I wrote as a sophomore in high school. That was kind of the seed that planted it all. And it grew from there into my first novel. In fact, the short story was originally part of what was the first chapter of my first novel, The League of the Quadrumvirate. But it's extremely interesting how that little seed of a short story I wrote for an English teacher as a sophomore in high school turned into what I think is going to be, has started to be, an amazing trilogy. It's a great story about coming to the realization that there's nothing a person can't do when presented with a challenge. And you can do it by applying yourself. The first novel in a summary format is about a family. The father of the family, Jacques Delaney, basically joined the Hussars, French cavalry, if you would, during the 7 Years' War. He was a decorated hero, but was injured, and from there was discharged honorably, and then a decorated hero, and then became rather reclusive, used his ability to build a state, revitalize an estate, and then built businesses, very successful businesses in fields, orchards, vineyards, and constructed a paper factory in the Charente area near Angoulême, France. In any case, the story goes on to talk about how he meets the love of his life. They marry. They have 2 sons, and the 2 sons are trained by their father to be prepared for life, and he gives them the best training, not only from an education standpoint, but from a self-defense standpoint, from being able to do everything from savate, which is a French martial arts, kickboxing, to fencing, to hunting, to camping, self-preservation, and self-defense. He believes very strongly in it, and gives his son the best training and everything. When he can't train them any longer, he gets the best senseis, the best teachers, and they become very accomplished. Well, the father, Jacques Delaney, the Marquis de Sarthes, ends up getting into some political turmoil during the French Revolution. He's a loyalist. He gets involved with opposing the Robespierre and the Jacobins, and they end up basically assassinating him. And I'll leave the rest of that story pretty much alone, so when you read the book, you'll really get a good feel for it. But basically what happens is you end up not knowing what happens to the rest of the family. They go through a tragedy. Their estate is pretty much burnt to the ground. And the youngest son, Guillaume, is wounded and left for dead. The eldest son, Geoffroy, is kidnapped. And Guillaume recovers and then goes on a quest to, first of all, avenge his family's loss, and then find what happened to his brother. He doesn't know if he's kidnapped, what occurs, but he meets a group of 4 young men, and I'm summarizing here quite a bit, and the 4 of them bond together synergistically. Each has their own individual set of unique abilities. Obviously, Guillaume is driven. He's got a quest. He's well trained. He meets a young huntsman, Maurice Lemure, who has been trained in being a blacksmith, and he's an extremely good hunter. He knows how to track, how to kill. And he bonds with Guillaume, and they establish the idea that they're going to go to Paris, where the French Revolution, Reign of Terror, is hitting its peak. And from there, they meet two other young men, Geba, a young nightman, frail. One would think he's probably unuseful, but he turns out to be a lion-hearted hero in the book. And Ernst, a scrivener for the Paris's legal system, the Versailles legal system, and he turns out to be a genius and helps them understand what's going on with Robespierre and what he's doing. And so it's a great plot in that they end up foiling Robespierre's ambitions. And like history states, he ends up going to the guillotine and losing his head. But they also have to foil someone that Robespierre's hired to do his dirty work, which is the nemesis, the butcher. And I'm going to kind of cap it there. But it was fantastic writing this because the characters were great. The plot is great. I had a wonderful time researching them, a wonderful time imagining them, and a wonderful time putting down in words what I wanted them to be. And it was really interesting because it kind of all fell into place. The city Angoulême was someplace I'd visited in the past, and it fit very well into the whole scheme. The fact that these characters, these four young men who I call the quadrumvirate, each had some cool traits that I felt were important and kind of felt that I could expound upon was a lot of fun. And I think when you read the book, you're going to love it. So, yeah, the Vicomte Trilogy starts with Vicomte, the League of the Quadrumvirate, which I've kind of explained. It will move on from there into my next novel, which is Vicomte, the Shillelagh, where Guillaume, the hero, chases one of the nemesis in the book, Leclerc, to Ireland, and turns out going through a whole new set of trials. An exciting book as well. Love affair. And so it's a fun story. It brings in another group of characters that I think you'll love. And from there, my next book, which I'm just starting to write, is called, I was not given a name yet, but it will take place in the United States, very close to the area I live in, north central Ohio, which was really a hotbed of activity prior to the War of 1812, and that has to do with a lot of frontier being gained as people moved from the 13 colonies west into the Ohio area, and a lot of neat historical characters. William Henry Harrison, who was becoming the governor of the area, Tecumseh and Tenskwatawa, two Shawnee Indians who were really instrumental in building an Indian Federation, and that was just during the conception of that going on. So Guillaume is going to move into this area, and for the final book of the trilogy, searching for his brother and his nemesis, we'll see all kinds of great adventure taking place here as well. So can't wait for you to read the trilogy. I think you're going to really love it. I'm excited for people to buy the first book, which is available now on Amazon and on Barnes & Noble's online bookstore. It's available in some local bookstores here in the Toledo area, including Barnes & Noble and others. And my second book is at the editor right now, Vicomte the Shillelagh, and I think it's going to be as good or better than the first and will be available in the same places. And then the third book, as I mentioned, I'm just starting to write. So I can't wait for you to get involved in this. I love the fact that a lot of my pre-readers and readers have given good ratings. And I'm looking forward to you, if you haven't done so already, getting the first book and then preparing yourself for the second.